Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching Where with Sim again. Hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's video, we're going to be going over this interesting severe weather threat that this area hasn't seen in a very long time. It's probably been about 2 months before they really seen the threat of severe weather, and this severe weather threat is for today. So we're really going to have to watch closely, but we also got some extremely interesting changes too as well that will probably surprise you a lot. And this is not a typical El Nino pattern, which is going to be nuts. So we'll have to watch this closely, but first of all, we're going to start off with the day one outlook, which is for today. We actually do have a marginal risk of severe weather across western Pennsylvania, and that's what I said, and that's what I just said, is that we haven't seen a threat of severe weather up here for a long time, guys. We haven't. I swear, we haven't seen a severe weather threat up to the north for a pretty long time. So we're finally back with a little bit of severe weather. Thankfully, it did start off pretty easily instead of going like up to enhanced risk, but we're still gonna have to watch closely because we still have both threats for wind and hail. Thankfully, no tornado threat, which also kind of takes it easy too as well, but we're talking at least 1-inch hail and even 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So that's what we're gonna have to watch the most, is for 1-inch hail and even some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts out there. So make sure to be on high alert if you live in Harrisburg, Newcastle, Bell Park, something like that, and then Plum, Pennsylvania. All those areas are included in that marginal risk, so make sure to be on high alert. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the excessive rainfall outlook. We actually did have a threat for flash flooding in Florida yesterday, and if you guys experience like any flash flooding or anything like that, I mean, I'm at least hoping you guys did take that flash flood threat serious. I'm at least hoping you guys did take those threats serious. So if you guys haven't, just make sure to take them serious, because I mean, as we get into tomorrow, it kind of completely changes because it moves over to the northwest, to where we'll see a slight risk for flash flooding on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and probably dying down on day 5, but it depends. But we're gonna have to keep watching for more flash flooding up here to the north, but as of today, we're going to have to watch the most, okay? This is where it's going to be the focused for a while. So make sure to be on high alert if you live up here. We're talking maybe an upgrade one of these days, but we're not really sure yet. They might all just stay a slight risk. But we're going to go ahead and look at the Climate Prediction Center outlook. It actually made me a little bit surprised, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But we're first going to start off with the temperature outlook. Whoa, what just happening? I'm really sorry about that, guys. Ads will pull up on private weather when I'm using it, which doesn't make me very happy at all. But if you guys want to look at these ads, you guys can. And you guys can even research them. Like this one is the Meyer ad. You guys could search for Meyer and do whatever it says, but you guys won't have to. You guys can just focus on the map or the thing that I'm talking about. But anyway, we still got a pretty good chance for above average temperatures across the eastern half of the United States, including the Ohio Valley, getting up into the Great Lakes region and even the upper Midwest. But over here out west, we are seeing still a chance for slightly below average temperatures across places like Utah, Idaho, and even northeast Nebraska. All those areas are included in that, at least that 40% chance or 40 to 50% chance of below average temperatures. And I actually forgot to say, we actually do have that up there across Seattle too as well, or even western Washington. But your chances is about a 40 to a 50% chance of below average temperatures, and then up here to the north you got about a 70 to 80% chance of above average temperatures out here across the Ohio Valley, getting into the upper Midwest. But with the 8 to 14 day outlook on the temperature outlook, it sounds like we still continue to see at least slightly below average temperatures out west, but it does shift more east, that's for sure. The chances do die down a little bit, but you're still seeing at least a 50 to 60% chance of above average temperatures out here out west. So we're definitely going to have to keep being on high alert for some above average temperatures. It sounds like this may continue to die down as this updates again, but this probably won't update till like maybe after tomorrow is probably when it will most likely update again, but it depends. We're gonna have to watch this closely, but same goes for Florida, seeing a pretty good chance for above average temperatures. We're gonna go ahead and take you to the 6 to 10 day outlook, and I was actually surprised about that. And if you look, we are seeing well above average precipitation across like the Ohio Valley, getting into the plains, getting into Rockies, and then up here in the upper Midwest, and then down into Arkansas. And I mean, this is not what you typically see during an El Nino, guys. This is not, because, and the reason why you don't see this during an El Nino is because usually most of the storms stay down south. And I mean, we are still seeing above average precipitation at least across the Gulf Coast states, but like well above average precipitation, there's no way you would see more storms up north than you would see them down south. So that's why it's not really typical for this time of year. So definitely be on extremely high alert for many rounds of storms across these areas. And as you can probably see, it does show the counties. That might make it a little bit easier to find your location, but still be on very high alert. And I actually live in the green area too, which means I need to be on high alert too as well. So if you guys do live in this green, make sure to be on high alert for several rounds of possibly dangerous storms. We're going to go ahead and look at the 8 to 14 day outlook with the precipitation, and it actually still stays the same. We're still staying above average with these green colors. So I mean, it's still pretty bad as we get into both the 6 to 10 day outlook and the 8 to 14 day outlook, with both times showing above average precipitation. But this time it does die down a little bit compared to the 6 to 10 day outlook. It's also a little bit more widespread too as well, and even California starts to see above average too as well. And I forgot to say during the 6 to 10 day outlook, and I'll just go ahead and go back again. During the 6 to 10 day outlook, you have probably had about a 50 to 60% chance of above average precipitation, which is actually a pretty good chance for above average precipitation. I'm not joking, that's a pretty good chance. So anywhere from a 50-50 to a likely chance of seeing above average precipitation, so that will be a concern. We're going to go ahead and look at the hazards, where we actually do see some winter storm warnings in effect for places like Maine. So I mean, that's pretty much their big time snowstorm up there, I think. Yeah, that's pretty much their big time snowstorm up there for this fall season. So we're definitely gonna have to watch closely. We even got some pretty good high wind watches in effect for like South Dakota, getting into Wyoming, and then back down through like Denver, and then into Albuquerque, New Mexico, at least near Albuquerque. And then up here to the north, we are seeing those winter storm warnings still in effect for places like east of Salt Lake City, getting into Jackson, and then down here into eastern Idaho, and then some winter storm warnings continuing up the handle of Idaho. And then we do have those flood watches in effect for places like Washington, getting into Oregon, maybe a little one for California, and then we even see another flood watch in effect for the Panhandle of Florida. So pretty active, especially with high wind watches, even in effect for Montana. But even down here, we are seeing some pretty good dense fog advisories in effect. And I mean, that is in effect for pretty much Nashville, getting into Memphis, and then down through Mississippi into Louisiana, and then pretty much a few isolated areas of dense fog advisories for like Texas, Arkansas, Florida, even North Carolina, and then also central Oklahoma, seeing all those dense fog advisories too as well. We're just gonna go ahead and take a look at our radar. There was actually an interesting thing that I haven't showed you guys yet. So the interesting thing will be up in a little bit, but as of right now, we may see a little stormy conditions across southwest Indiana with this low pressure system. It's very high. It's a high low pressure system, but this sounds like it will continue to stay like in between high and low pressure. So like as it moves through, it may bring a little bit with it, but it's probably high enough to where it probably won't bring much. And then we will start to see a pretty interesting thing come. This starts off on December 9th, 2023, and as you see, we start off pretty active with a line of storms moving through the state of Indiana, through western Kentucky and western Tennessee. So I mean, that will be a pretty big concern, because if you look, it continues to stay together as it moves through, like let's say like Rockport, or even getting into like almost Fort Wayne. Let's say it stays together in those areas, and then as we continue to take this forward, it keeps staying together, maybe looking a little bit more organized, but as we continue to take this forward, it starts strengthening into a very big nasty line of storms across these areas in New England. So I think we could see a big threat for severe weather across the New England area, getting into the mid-Atlantic and down into the south, and I also think we might be able to see one across Indiana, depending on how it plays out, even western Kentucky and Tennessee. So it could look like this or something like that, because as you can see, as we go back one, it still starts off pretty active, but as you see, it barely even shows any storms developing. So it pretty much develops into like Illinois, Missouri, and then really strengthening as it moves through Evansville, and then continuing through Louisville, and then stuff like that. So we're going to have to really watch these areas closely. I'm just going to let you guys know I called this area Louisville because it makes a little bit more sense with how it spells, but it actually is called Louisville. So, I mean, I like to call that area Louisville because it makes a little bit more sense, like the spelling, like I said. But we're going to look at the precipitation. I only went it on to the 171 hour because I kind of wanted to take a break by going super far out and kind of getting a little bit uncertain. But the 171 hour actually heads all the way to, let's see, where does this head to? It sounds like it heads from Sunday, December 10th, 2023. So that's where this does end. So anywhere from now to December 10th, 2023. And as you can probably see, we are seeing some pretty active precipitation across a lot of these areas. As you see, we're kind of getting about an inch from that line of severe storms we were just talking about. We are kind of seeing some pretty good precipitation across New England. Not a whole lot yet, because this isn't necessarily where the storm is the strongest yet. It's probably pretty much by Louisville as it moves through Indiana and then into New England. But even down here into the south, we are actually still seeing a pretty good chance for some precipitation. But if you look over here into Mississippi and Louisiana, are you kidding me, guys? I thought they were going to continue to keep having their rain, but are they actually going to start seeing below average precipitation? Because look, if we look at Louisiana, only seeing about a tenth to two tenths of an inch across the LA region, or the New Orleans area, but Louisiana can also be called LA because that's how it's spelled in a smaller way. But up here in Mississippi, pretty much through the entire state, we are actually seeing about 2/10 of an inch, at least in a few areas. But we could also be talking about an inch to a half down to a ½ inch across some areas across Tennessee. So it really depends. We're at least gonna have to watch closely, and I don't actually think these blues indicate an inch. I thought they did because that's what the tropical tidbits showed, but it sounds like blues indicate a little bit less than an inch. So sounds like Indiana down through southern Illinois and back down through Missouri, and then over here out to the east on the east coast. Those are the spots where it's going to be most active, places where I have to watch closely. But as we look at the total snowfall, this does head out at the exactly same time as the precipitation, and as we do look at this, it actually does show some pretty good snowfall for like the West Virginia mountains, and then over here out west we are seeing some pretty good snowfall for like central Washington, getting down into central Oregon, and then back down through California, and then some isolated areas across Idaho seeing about 2 inches, or I mean about 2 feet of snow is what I meant to say, seeing about 2 feet of snow, and that kind of does add up to 30, and then it kind of makes a little bit interesting where it kind of like goes down and still continuing to see snowfall, and then it kind of goes back up to where we are still seeing some pretty active snowfall across these areas, but we're still gonna have to watch closely. But we're gonna go ahead and look at our temperatures real quick, where we actually will start to see some warmth across this area for a pretty long time. We are going to continue to see like 40s and 50s, but no freezing is likely. We're just going to, and as you can probably see, it continue to stay warm, but as you see, we have like another round of warmth air coming through, which is interesting because, I mean, it sounds like we could see a little round of freezing at that time, but not much below freezing, and then as we continue to take that forward, we'll start to kind of see some pretty warm temperatures again, and then it sounds like we could see well below average temperatures. Wow, look at what the GFS model is showing. I know I'm heading extremely far out, like all the way to the 384 hour, but just look what it's showing. I mean, this is very satisfying for the look of it, guys. I'm not joking. This is very satisfying for the look of it, and as you see, just showing minus temperatures across these areas. Isn't that crazy? I mean, yeah, that's just crazy. I mean, we're gonna have to watch closely, but thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy my video. Things are looking to really start getting active for the month of December. Can't rule out a couple more severe weather events. Some of them could include an enhanced risk or even a moderate risk. So we're gonna have to watch closely for the months of December. Hopefully it turns out calmer at times instead of just staying active through the entire month. But let's just hope for the best. But thank you guys very much for watching, and I will do one tomorrow.